Good morning. Let us recap on the materials that we have covered so far. In the previous lessons, we talked about adrenaline and its effects around our body. As you can see, adrenaline is a hormone that can affect many organs found in our body. We also learned about what is a hormone, the definition of hormone. Alright, it being a chemical substance produced by a gland, which can be both endocrine and exocrine gland, and they are transported by blood, having the ability to change the activity of one or more target organs, and finally, after it has served its function, it will be destroyed in the liver. The two types of glands that we have talked about earlier, exocrine and endocrine glands, alright? So the main difference will be the presence of duct. If the gland secretes the chemical substance or secretes the hormone via a duct, we will call it exocrine gland. If it does so without a duct, it will be termed endocrine gland. And for endocrine gland, the secretion will enter the blood directly. So examples of your exocrine gland will include sweat gland and salivary gland, because secretion from both these glands, your saliva and your sweat, will pass through ducts. Right? Your sweat duct for the first example, sweat gland, and your salivary duct for the second example. And for endocrine gland, alright, it includes adrenal gland, which secretes adrenaline, testes and ovary, our sex organs, which secretes our sex hormones. So the control of hormone production has got to be regulated very much in our body to ensure that there is no disastrous results. Alright, so definition of hormones once again. Now we'll talk about the different glands and the secretion around our body. For the pituitary gland, it is considered as the master gland, reason being that it will actually secrete a number of hormones, including ADH, your antidiuretic hormone. And this gland has a huge influence over the other glands in our body. That is why it is called the master gland. So pituitary gland, one of the most important functions is that is its ability to secrete growth hormones. Alright, so for someone who suffers from giantism, alright, meaning the size gets very big, right, it is due to the over secretion of the growth hormones from your pituitary gland. And dwarfism, alright, will be for the lack of secretion. Next, thyroid gland. As you can see, thyroid is found near your throat. It secretes tyrosine and it controls the rate of metabolism and influences physical development. Adrenal gland that we are talking about so far, right, is found close to the kidney and the pancreas. It secretes your adrenaline, alright, which is your fight or flight hormone, and it is only secreted under states of emergency, right? When you are feeling fearful, when you have anxiety, you will secrete adrenaline. Hypothalamus, alright, for hypothalamus itself, it shouldn't be confused over its function as a gland, because what hypothalamus does is it regulates the secretion of some pituitary hormone, which means, alright, for example, for your pituitary gland, it secretes your ADH, alright. However, pituitary gland will receive its information from the hypothalamus, and it's not the hypothalamus which secretes the ADH. So you got to make the clear distinction over here. Next, thymus, right? So thymus is found close to your chest. It is involved in the production and education of T lymphocytes, alright, which are essential in our immune system. So what do we mean by education of T lymphocyte? We have got to educate the white blood cell, right? This type of white blood cell to know, right, which are our own cells and which are the foreign bodies. So it has to know which are the type of particles to attack, which are the types of cells to attack. Pancreas, right, the main character in this topic, alright, because in pancreas we have the isolate of Langerhans, the cells which makes up the isolate of Langerhans, and they are crucial over blood glucose regulation, over its secretion, over its roles in the secretion of insulin and glucagon. Next, testis, alright, it secretes testosterone, and another gland found in females will be ovary, and it secretes estrogen and progesterone. Alright, one of the common misconceptions is this: the release of hormone from glands will trigger appropriate responses in our body. This is not exactly right, because the release of hormones from gland only marks the first step. The hormone will then have to bind to the specific target cells before a response can be triggered. So it's not just the release of hormones that will cause the various effects in our body. The hormone still has to bind to the receptor. Next common misconception is this. In males, many people think that we only have the male hormones, but this is not true. In both males and females, we have a mix of sex hormones. But in males, we have more of males and lesser of females. It doesn't mean that we do not have females, and vice versa for the females. Now let us try this question. Hormones are chemicals involved in coordination in the body. Which combination in the table is correct? Alright, take a moment and think about this. Pause the video and think about this. Alright, so what is your answer? The correct answer should be C. Hormones are carried by the blood, in the blood plasma, and they are destroyed by the liver. And so this is a practice question that I would like you guys to finish it and be submitted during the next lesson. So far we have covered the definition of hormones, what is meant by endocrine gland which secretes hormones without duct, and they do so by secreting it directly into the bloodstream. We have also talked about the role of adrenaline in boosting the blood glucose level, the main function of it. Alright? Right now we will talk about how blood glucose concentration is regulated by both insulin and glucagon. You should have a rough idea of this already, so I'll cover it very quickly.